Hello and welcome back to 9 Years in China with old Kenny. Today I thought I'd take a few minutes and discuss going to the supermarket. After I arrived in China and get settled in and whatnot, of course, every few days you got to go to the market for something. In these teachers' apartments, they don't give you a really big refrigerator like we have here in America. They're pretty small, and 3 or 4 days worth of food is about all you can shove into one of those little things. It's like what you might see in a hotel. But anyhow, and in my first year, in 2010, Chinese supermarkets, especially in the smaller cities, they didn't have very much American style anything. And so it's always a challenge to get what you want, and me, I'm a basic meat and potato, and milk and bread and cheese, just very, very normal. I don't venture very far from my heritage, and then the students were always going with me. The students, God bless them, they keep me from out of trouble. They tell me what to buy, what not to buy, what looks good, what looks bad, who to talk to, all that kind of stuff. Helping me across the street, holding my hands, like I'm a 90-year-old man, going across the street. But going to the supermarket is fun. But the first thing you notice, you walk into the supermarket. Now, first it kind of looks okay, kind of Kroger-ish or whatever, And I remember the first ones I went to was called Sukhois, S-U-G-U-O, Sukhois supermarket. And I kind of have a list of what I'd like to find, and so we go in, me and the kids, we go in, we're just looking at everything, I'm just like, oh my gosh, and I can't read anything, so I just kind of look to what I'm looking for. So we go buy the fruits and vegetables, and they got every kind of apple, banana, whatever, so you can get a little of this, throw it in the buggy. You maybe go by and buy some noodles, and I eat noodles a lot different than they do, I just want to cook the noodles and throw a little butter and cheese on it, and not like a soup. If, Chinese people are going to cook noodles, it's going to have some kind of soup, but, you get, a package of noodles, and it's best to get the fresh ones. If you can find a place in China where they're actually making them in the machine and they're pulling out the dough, it smells so good, and it tastes really, really fine. I can't say enough for that. That's one thing I miss terribly about China, is seeing fresh noodles being made. And you can go get them in a bag, you tell them you want 3 in or whatever, and they'll put 3 in and, in a bag and, and tie it up and put a sticker on it. And a lot of that stuff, is very similar to, the American supermarket. But when it's time to go look for milk, back then it was really, really, really difficult to get fresh milk in a jug like where we go buy at a Kroger. Usually you had to buy these little 250 milliliter little boxes of milk and little cartons of milk, and you buy a case of it, and cold is fine, so throw a case of that in. And I love cold green tea. Chinese people hate anything that's cold, to some extent. They want everything hot. Me, I want it so cold the ice is falling off of it. So I get some green tea and cheese. At first, cheese was a forget it thing. I was about to cry and go to pieces because I couldn't find any cheese. It took a long time. It took a couple months before a brand new market being built in Fuyang, where I was at, called Fa. When Fa got built, you could get some milk and cheese. Thank God. But anyhow, but we'd buy our case of milk, and we'd start heading back toward the meat department. My favorite place. I want to go to the meat department. And when you first at first you see the packages of chicken breast and little, you know, bubble wrap packages of little pork chops and things like that. Okay, that's cool. That's good. You know, let's get some chicken. And they also have breaded chicken strips, which I lived off them things. And my students just loved the chicken strips. They wanted to, and I would make homemade fries. With the potatoes, I make homemade fries. My students just loved them. And so you can get that stuff and put it in a bag, and they would weigh it, and you get your chicken strips. And as you start making the circle, all of a sudden you start seeing all these aquariums. Okay. And maybe the first ones you come to, you see shrimp. Okay, shrimp's cool. Get it while it's still kicking. You don't have to buy it pre-frozen or stuck in a box. I can pick my shrimp out. That's okay. Maybe crawfish, if you wanted to boil some crawfish. They got it. They got all that. Called longsha. And lots of Chinese people. Longsha, crawfish is a very, very popular dish. And it's not cooked Cajun style, but you can get it seasoned fairly hot. And so you go there, and all of a sudden you start seeing fish. And you see fish that's on the endangered species list. You see sturgeon in an aquarium. Sturgeon. You might see different kinds of catfish, maybe from the Mekong. I've eaten a lot of good catfish out of the Mekong River coming out of Vietnam. You see catfish, and you see carp and all kinds of crazy looking fish. That most of it's bony too. I don't like bony. I like a fillet. And one thing you'll find in China that amazed me in the supermarket was largemouth bass. And you can pick out those 1 and 2 pounders in any market, in a wet market, a street market, in the supermarket. Bass pretty popular, and I know how to clean a bass. I can fillet a bass in a hurry. So I had eaten a lot of bass in my first few years in China, especially. But you keep looking. Now you start seeing strange creatures. You start seeing eels. Get your eel while it's fresh. You can't beat an eel. I wouldn't eat an eel to save my life, but they'll buy bags of these eel fish things that are, up to almost 2 feet long. Most of them are a foot long. Get your eel. Then all of a sudden, bullfrogs. Some of them are decent size. Maybe not Louisiana, Texas, Arkansas size, but decent little frogs. And of course they cook them totally different. I tell them, that we eat the back and the legs, fried, and they don't eat frog like that. But get your frog while it's alive. Then, turtles. Lots of turtles. Most of them are red-eared sliders, and they're not for pets. Now, you can buy little ones in the street markets for pets, but they want to, they want to give you a decent-sized turtle, and how they cook it, I have no idea. I don't want to know how they cook red-eared slider in China. But there they are, and they're looking at you. Get me, get me, get me. But anyhow, turtles and eels and frogs and bugs. They got some big old bugs they eat even. So the visit to the Chinese supermarket is very, very interesting if you're the foreigner. But my students, they're kind of like me. There's some stuff they won't eat either. Maybe grandma and grandpa will eat it. But anyhow, that's a little bit about going to the supermarket, and I'll try to share a few photos I found inside the supermarket. But don't forget, subscribe to my channel. Remember, I need you to help me out. And also remember, these are my opinions, my observations, the way I saw China when I lived there. I'm not here to argue or debate anything with anybody. This is just what I saw, and that's what my videos are all about. So yeah, we got some more good stuff coming up. really soon. So we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.